In small chapels and large cathedrals, Christians around the world came together today to mark one of their holiest days of the year, Good Friday. Services were held in churches across Canada. In Toronto, Roman Catholics were led by one of their 3 Canadian cardinals. There were familiar scenes overseas. In Jerusalem, a traditional reenactment of the Way of the Cross, Christ's final steps. In the West Bank, Palestinian Christians refused entry to Jerusalem, held a procession of their own. And in Vatican City, Francis celebrated the Passion of Jesus for the first time as Pope. The CBC's Megan Williams has that story.
One of the most solemn enactments of the Catholic tradition, the Via Crucis, or Way of the Cross, the final steps of Christ before his crucifixion. Thousands of Catholics from around the world took part in the procession that led to Rome's most famous monument, a place believed to be where persecuted Christians met their death in ancient Rome. At the 14 stations of the cross, prayers by young people from Lebanon for an end to violence and religious tension. The 76-year-old Pope did not carry the cross, as some previous popes have. Earlier in the day in St. Peter's Basilica, Francis led the recital of the Passion of Christ, the story of the last hours of Jesus' life, at one point lying flat on the ground in prayer. Yesterday, on Holy Thursday, rather than give Mass at St. Peter's like popes before him, Francis visited a prison for minors outside Rome. There, he washed the feet of 12 young inmates, 2 Muslims, and for the first time, 2 women. This prison official said the Pope is keeping true to the promise he made on the balcony of St. Peter's the night he was elected, that he would push for a church closer to the poor, marginalized, and suffering. The core message of the Catholic Church remains a conservative one that excludes women from leadership roles and refuses to recognize gay relationships. But in the short time since he's become Pope, Francis has already bucked tradition, this week announcing he would not move into the papal apartment inside the Apostolic Palace. Instead, he'll live with priests inside the Vatican City Santa Marta guest residence, the very same place he stayed as Cardinal Bergoglio before elected Pope, and just steps away from St. Peter's Basilica, where as Pope, he'll preside for the first time over Easter Sunday Mass. Megan Williams, CBC News, Rome.